Your AQ,
Adaptability quotient,
is more important than your IQ or your EQ. Through tech evolution, AI, and all of the post-COVID era, you've got to recognize human beings need to be more adaptable now than ever.
We believe this time is like no other. We refer to these as the tectonic shifts.
All the hyperscalers in the world, if you add them all together, managed services will be 1.5 times larger.
Because it is the customer buying behavior that has created the need for all of us to rethink our models.
Until we have data quality, the effectiveness of AI cannot be realized, and effectiveness of the partnerships cannot be realized.
Can you figure out first what your purpose is and how Microsoft can support your purpose and how you can support Microsoft's purpose? Now we have a partnership. It's the ultimate partnership.
For this next session, I was privileged to be joined by Regina Manfredi, the Executive Vice President of Crayon, who explains to us how the adaptability quotient is a new superpower.
We've been talking quite a bit about the transformation that's going on and what's been happening in the world that you live in. But for all of us here, maybe a little bit about you, your background, your role at Crayon, and Crayon itself, for those who maybe don't know Crayon. I mean, I assume everybody knows who Crayon is.
Well, I live it every day, but I still meet people often who say, what is Crayon? Yeah. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for making us part of the Ultimate Partner Experience. This has been great.
Thank you.
We appreciate your friendship. I am Regina Manfredi. I have responsibility for the U.S. subsidiary at Crayon. We are a Gartner leader in IT optimization, and we are passionate every day. We get out of bed every day to help our customers optimize their IT environment so that they can transform into the cloud and that they can leverage data and AI as they innovate and look for that competitive advantage that they strive for. But we have a lot of fun first helping our customers, not just with the transformation, but the optimization.
Your organization is a culture and a pedigree of delivering on top of, not just being a licensed reseller, but delivering solutions and innovation and transformation to organizations. But things changed a little bit this past year, and I was hoping maybe we could dive in a little bit on Crayon, what's happened with Crayon, and what you've had to address, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, so I think the elephant in the room, if you're in the LSP community, is that Microsoft has changed how they have chosen to incentivize partners to go to market. And so that has a tremendous impact in the LSP community because the way in which we support the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement has shifted dramatically towards cloud first and services first. So for those of us like myself who've been in this business for 25 years, being a licensing expert.
You were 15 when you got started.
Well, I was 15, yeah, I just right out of high school. For those of us who've been around a while, it took years to build the knowledge and expertise and be able to consult with customers around the commercial terms and conditions of a Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, and even the CSP licensing. Yep. So for those of us who have made and built businesses around that, there's a big shift happening for us.
And it is a big shift. And a little bit of background here, because a lot of people don't even recognize this, or maybe a lot of people don't even know this in the room. The large account reseller program, which became the LSP program, was built because and this is a true story because I was on the inside of this, Microsoft didn't have the systems and tools to support enterprise agreements at all. Didn't have the resources to support it. And they really said, we've got a bunch of organizations that are resellers that can handle the paperwork for us and can handle the support of the customers because we don't have, Microsoft is not set up as an organization to do any of this. Yep. So it's really a radical shift from organizations like yours that basically have built incredible infrastructure to support this.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, it's really no different than for those of us who back in the day used to load boxes of Microsoft Office onto pallets, shrink wrap all those boxes, put them on an 18-wheeler and deliver them to our customers.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that evolution has occurred and it's continuing, which is great. That's exciting. Yep. But you're right. We have to go to market differently and we have to support our customers differently. But the need around how to navigate the Microsoft licensing. It's hard.
It is hard.
It's
a very
not
hard
easy.
business. So what have you done? Like, how are you thinking about it differently? And let's take that and let's explore that, because you have your end customers, right? The customer is the center of this conversation, but then you also have your own partner ecosystem that you support as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
let's talk about that.
So whether it's supporting our partners or our customers, we made a conscious decision that even if Microsoft's priorities have shifted and how they incentivize partners is shifting, we're not going to abandon the customer. And we're not going to abandon the partner, because somebody still needs an expert to answer those really hard questions. Yeah. But we also think it's important to take what we do best and now begin to productize those services and take those services to market to support our partners and our customers, because we still, at the end of the day, have to help those customers with their own transformation journey. So if it's maximizing an E5 license, for example, and helping a customer develop their Copilot strategy, securing the environment and the infrastructure, or getting them in well off into that AI journey, a lot of customers, 85% of them still have workloads on-prem.
Yeah.
And so that's
right.
not going to happen overnight. And so we have a new way of going to market where we're supporting our partners to help customers along in that journey, as well as the customers directly. And what we're seeing and hearing in the market, quite frankly, is some of our scale we're no longer LSPs, by the way. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, I heard we changed the acronym again.
We're scale partners now. The scale partners now are, some of them are actually abandoning the enterprise agreement interaction with the customer, and we're going to be right there to help that client.
That's fantastic. What do you think of in the strategic perspective here too? Like, you're thinking about this evolution. Like, how are you thinking about the long term? How this changes?
Well, there's a couple of things that we're being thoughtful in terms of how things change. And a year ago, you talked about there's 7 partners at the table with a customer to drive the solution for the customer.
That's right.
And the outcome that the customer desires. And I heard it a year ago, and I believed you.
I love the fact that you listened.
I believed you. I listened and I believed you. So we have been really working to develop our partner ecosystem, because you're right. With the complexity of these new solutions and how we are expected to go to market in the SMC space specifically, it's taking more of us. And if you're going to prioritize Copilot on every desktop, and if you're going to prioritize security, if you're going to prioritize AI in every account, you're going to need a little help. Because let's be honest, and if you're going to advise them commercially on the best, smartest way to make the economics work for that transformation, you got to have some friends at the table with you. So we've been working at Crayon on really developing a deeper partner ecosystem that is all about, hey, these are my friends. I've vetted these friends. Mr. Customer, these are the people that we go to market with.
I love this. Based
on your needs. And we look for regional players. We're looking for national and global players as well. But it's really about, what does the customer want and need? And then we're going to spin a little bit of fun into it and help make sure that that customer feels the love. And so we're working on a cross-functional team project to help customers have a different experience, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of living in unprecedented times. Jeez.
And it's not going to change.
I'm ready to have
shifts are not changing.
Can we have some fun again? So that Feel the Love project is about infusing fun back into IT and get everybody to feel like a little bit of levity through the process as we go through the milestones in these transformations together.
So talk to us. What does that look like? What's the fun look like?
We're looking at how do we bring back to life the human connection and the relationship in this very distributed workforce. And so in a post-COVID era, many of us had on the jacket and shirt and our pajama pants and our slippers, and I'm still adjusting to heels again because I lived in flip-flops.
Yeah, I still wear shorts.
And you're, okay, but that's great. And what we need to do together is bring back that sense of connection. And so it's, how are we building that ecosystem, coming together, celebrating the wins, and driving those transformations, but always putting the customer first, never losing a customer again. And so that cross-functional team has had some really cool ideas, and I would encourage anyone to explore how they can come together as an organization and get your finance people at the table, together with your ops people, together with the sellers, together with marketing and everyone.
And your partners.
To say, what would fun look like
I love it.
at work? And if you were the customer, do your own secret shopping. What does that look like? What's that experience? What's the voice of your client?
I want to peel back on this whole ecosystem approach that
Yeah.
you've taken, right? And you've been spot on. And we also have mutual friendship with Jay McBain, right? We talk about Jay.
Yep.
And the 7 seats at the table. My latest graphic has those 7 partners surrounding the customer, this is what you're doing, right? You're building,
Yes.
you're building your own ecosystem. So you're changing your business model in many respects. I mean, you didn't have resellers before. You had other types of partners. Talk to me more about this ecosystem approach, and what are you looking for from partnerships?
Well, I think it's important that if we look at the priorities of our customers first, then look at the priorities of the hyperscalers and the other ISVs as secondary. You build out that ecosystem that actually creates the solutions and the outcomes that customers look for, and you look for people that you can rely on and that you trust that they will deliver and execute.
Trust.
And you pull together a co-branded offering and go-to-market solution. And I don't think we should be afraid of that. I think that whole multi-party offer thing is too limiting. I'm like, no. We need to have like 4 or 5 of us together in on this gig. How do we make that work in the marketplaces? Because I do believe that having ISVs, solutions integrators, MSPs, and the like at the table together with us is really important. And so if everyone understands with clarity what their swim lane is, how they need to execute, and everyone is agreed on how we're going to celebrate and what the outcome is that we're going to get to, we're going to have some fun.
I think about it as a shopping cart as opposed to the multi-party offer approach, right?
Totally.
So,
Yep.
It's like I'm on Amazon and I'm buying the 7 things I need to have, right? So in your case, I need security, I need this ISV solution, I need an SI who's going to do the actual implementation, I might need some support from an MSP for the devices on site. Mm-hmm. I want to pull that all together and I want to pull it off of my agreement. Is that what your approach is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for? If you're recruiting a partner today to come join us, come be part of the fun that we're developing at Crayon, what does that look like?
That's exactly what I've been doing here this week. Isn't that why you invited us?
Exactly. I know you've had some great meetings here, in fact.
Yes.
I've heard about some.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, and that's been the fun of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's from the conversation that I had with Steve at Xero, and I said, hey, we used to do a lot of Teams voice, and then we learned some tough lessons along the way, and can you make it less scary for me?
Yeah.
And more interesting and compelling so that I can have a trusted partner that we can proceed with that. And I met that guy during this meeting.
And by the way, it drives E5.
And drive Z5,
Yeah.
heck yeah. From security partners, from even folks that have strong infrastructure bench. We're not going to be all things to all people.
Yep.
It's not possible. And I don't think our clients expect us to be anymore. So I really feel strongly about the fact that we've got to come together to make sure that both our partners and our customers are getting everything they need. And I'm not going to pretend to do it all.
I love that. And so that's the partner piece. What about at the customer side? Like, what is the messaging that your salespeople and your organization, this cross-functional team that's developing fun as well, what are they delivering? What's the conversations that they're now having with the customers?
That's still evolving, and we're learning a lot because now we know that we need to sell to the business and not be in procurement, not be in the data center, but actually have the conversation with the business leaders as well. And so I will tell you that we're working feverishly to help our sellers with what I call modern selling. And we're actually involved right now in an effort with the federal government to test out new ways of modern selling. In a post-COVID era, no one's sitting at their office anymore. They're at home.
That's right.
And how do you reach customers? And it's not all just digital. And so we're working on developing some and testing some sales skills that have been funded by the government to allow us the opportunity to test new ways to go to market. I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm pretty intrigued here. I don't know if we're going to let me to double click, or maybe I have to sign an NDA with you or the federal
We'll
government
talk
here.
later.
But that sounds very intriguing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We're excited about it. So we're open to
Yeah.
figuring out how do we build those connections with our customers that allow us to all get together at the table.
Yeah, and what you said is relevant to me as well. Like, it's not all digital. It's not all just push digital social.
No.
You then have to follow up. That has to be human. And this is where I think AI, like we always talk about AI being so prevalent, but that we still have to have the human element. Like, we can't replace the human element.
You can't replace the human element. Look, you can't invite somebody, like, would you ever get married over a Teams meeting?
No.
Okay, but we're asking our customers to make multi-million-dollar IT decisions and sign their name on the contract through Teams? No.
No.
We need to have the human connection, and that's critical.
I'd love to ask you more about, like, so you're on a calendar fiscal year?
We are.
So you're going into your planning cycle now.
Yes.
How are you thinking? I mean, we know a little bit, but like, how are you thinking about the business evolving? How are you thinking about the investment strategy? Tell us more about where you're headed in 2025.
So from a 2025 investment perspective, we are investing in our people first. I'm really excited about the team that we have built and continue to build, and building out the right expertise necessary for us to continue to do what we do best. We're also doubling down on our customer experience and in our partner community, because we know what we do best, and we know that we need a strong ecosystem to support one another and our customers. And so that's exactly what we're focused on and how we're going to prioritize our investments for next year.
So I want to ask you to double down on that a little bit, maybe for me. So what does the skilling look like? Is it technology skilling? Is it soft skills? Like, where do you see the investments?
It's both. Like I mentioned, there's a big investment around this modern selling capability to really, it's called an apprentice program for the modern seller. And so there's a lot around soft skills. And we're expanding that because we believe if customer experience is going to be successful, we're actually expanding that beyond the sales organization. Because if you work at Crayon, everyone sells. I don't care if you're an AR or, it doesn't matter. We're all selling, right? And so from a people perspective, there's a lot around soft skills. But then within our technical teams, our solutions teams, we're investing quite a bit around the technical acumen and expertise and competencies within that group.
So we've had this conversation going now for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and we haven't talked about AI. Let's talk about AI.
All right, let's do it.
Where do you see the investments? Where do you see the growth? What are you seeing? Because you're front and center with the customer as one of the top partners working with Microsoft. What do you see in terms of the hype cycle, the adoption? Where are we in the journey?
I think there is a lot more infrastructure work to be done before we really reach that pinnacle that everybody thought was going to happen this year, or maybe the early part of next, if I'm being honest. I'm fascinated by the fact that millions of, let's just say Americans, swiped their credit card for ChatGPT. I would imagine there are a few people in this room who are still getting auto-billed on a monthly basis for ChatGPT. And it reminds me, and it made me reflect back on when we all wanted email on our cell phones, and we demanded that our companies give us email on our cell phones, and everyone started distributing work cell phone BlackBerries back in the day, because the end users demanded it. So I think that Copilot and the case for Copilot is incredibly compelling. But there's a lot of infrastructure and security work that these organizations have to do.
Yes.
So I think that the AI hype is not hype. I think it's real. There's clearly end user demand for it. And I think that organizations, especially in the SMC space, to help their workforce be more productive should be thinking about how they're going to address it faster, because the risk and the security risk is very prevalent if your employees are using your company assets with that ChatGPT that they personally licensed.
Yes, and I'm one of those people who has one of those personal
Yeah, me
licenses
too.
myself.
But I use it at home
Yeah.
on my work.
But you bring up several. I mean, I can peel back from what you just said and infer from what you said. I got to get my data estate right.
Absolutely.
I'm still on-prem for many of my applications, which means I don't have the relevant data where it needs to be necessarily in order to affect an effective operating model for a co-pilot.
Right.
And then I've got to secure all this in a way that's relevant so that I can't just say, hey, ChatGPT, tell me what Regina makes a year, and it pulls up all your personal information about your salary, because people do that, right? When there's no barriers between the two,
Yep.
a lot of sensitive data in organizations get shared across domains.
Right.
And locking that data down is so important, right? So that's where a lot of these other partners in your organization come in and fix all that.
Yes, and I think the change management adoption piece is very needed across the industry, and you can see that. And that's where we've got to get our sellers better at selling to the business and our technologists better at informing and transforming into the cloud.
What is the typical Crayon buying persona? Is it the mid-market? Is that where you see most of your clients, or is it across the spectrum from enterprise all the way down to SMB?
Globally, it's across the spectrum. In the United States, we made a decision to focus in SMC. So we're all in SMC, Microsoft SMC space specifically.
Small, medium, and corporate,
But
for those who don't know the
Small,
the
medium,
acronym.
corporate, and so lower enterprise down.
Yep.
But our sweet spot and where we can really deliver impact quickly is really in that 200 user to 7,000 user space.
Which is the sweet spot. There's a huge
Yeah.
number of organizations. I believe there's like 10,000 organizations just in the United States within that sweet spot.
Yes, yes. I remind the sales team regularly. There is no need to worry about opportunity in the U.S. market for Crayon. And then in our SAM practice and that legacy business, that core business that we have today, we do go well up into the upper enterprise.
And for people that don't know what SAM is, maybe
Software
just-
asset management.
Management, that's where you manage their EA and you provide all the resources. You help negotiate the contracts as well, I believe, in some of that process?
We do some of the contract negotiation, yes, but I think the real benefit is when we're helping customers with their roadmap process and help them understand what it's going to take for them to get the full ROI out of every single license. And then we also have tools and resources that we implement at the customer location to help them understand what's being utilized, what's been licensed, and then where are you in your utilization, and where are you in how we can really help optimize that agreement overall based on that roadmap. And some customers really struggle with that, so we're great at it.
Going into 2025, what advice would you give to them about achieving their greatest results? What biggest nugget, I guess, is what I would say, that you would give them as they're thinking about their planning going into 2025?
Them who, I'm sorry.
Oh, our listeners.
The listeners.
The partners mostly that listen to the Ultimate Guide to Partnering and that are watching today. How should they be thinking about their 2025?
Gotcha. In terms of thinking about 2025, it's really about understanding what's your focus going to be. We hear a lot and receive a lot of pressure from our partners out in the ecosystem, but be true to yourself. What are you going to be? And one of the things that's been helping us is learning to say no to the things that you don't do best, and go find a friend who does it really, really well.
Nice. And
And that you can bring alongside with you in that customer journey. And so I would say, work on that partner ecosystem. Recognize that your buyer personas are younger and they want to have fun. And the way in which you and I've done business for, I put it out there, so 25 years.
I'll settle with 25.
You can, yeah.
I might have been a few more years longer than you.
You can go with 10 if you need to. But the way in which we've consistently conducted business is changing, and the outcomes that our customers demand are really critical. And so do you understand what outcomes you want to deliver? Do you have the right people in your ecosystem to help you along the way and carry you? And are you investing in your people to help them learn? Because my team is really tired of me saying this, but I'm going to say it, and some of them are in the room. Adaptability is more important. Your AQ is more important than your IQ or your EQ.
Say that again for everyone.
Your AQ,
Adaptability quotient.
is more important through tech evolution, AI, and all of the post-COVID era. You've got to recognize human beings need to be more adaptable now than ever.
I love this.
And so,
I might steal this, by the way.
oh, I stole it, so feel free. I'll pay it forward. How about that?
I love it. Your adaptability quotient is more important than your EQ and your IQ.
Yes, and I
Love
keep
it.
telling my team that because people are feeling some change fatigue,
Yes.
you know?
This is what we've been talking about.
Yeah, and as organizations like Microsoft and AWS go through their own evolution, we're expected to just jump on and join the ride and
That's right.
adapt and change your business model and do all these things, and it's exhausting and people are tired. So at Crayon, we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it, and we're gonna hire people and look for people who can adapt or learn and grow with us.